A warm welcome to our viewers in Milan, Italy and Donetsk, Ukraine, watching on ABN television. This is a primetime news bulletin here on Joy News on Multi TV. In this edition, heads of basic schools in Greater Accra call for speedy release of capitation grants to ease financial strain on school authorities. The rundown Azuma Nelson Sports Complex is to get a facelift after several years of neglect. Flood victims at Jomoro in the Western region reject relief items presented by NANMO and instead demand permanent solution to perennial flooding. Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority to insist on seat belts before granting roadworthiness certificates to commercial passenger vehicles from September. And some Ghanaians in the USA to stage protests at Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. over what they say is a poor governance, corruption, and general deterioration of the economy. We also have business, sports, showbiz, and international news, where there's news involving another Malaysian plane that's gone down, this time with nearly 300 passengers. To station.
News at 8 with Israel Lai.
Debate on the request by government for the approval of an amount of 3.2 billion Ghana cedis to supplement the 2014 budget has commenced in Parliament. The motion, which was moved by the Finance Minister on Wednesday, July 16, generated heated argument in the House between the majority and minority members who gave different interpretations to the performance of the government over the past year and a half. The debate was characterized by accusations and counter-accusations.
Seconding the motion for the approval of the amount, the Member of Parliament for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, commended the Finance Minister for being candid with Ghanaians with the challenges the economy was facing. He said it was significant to appreciate the management of an economy, particularly its sustainability, must be above partisanship, and urged the members to refrain from giving political interpretations to the state of the economy. He explained the performance of industries had not been impressive as a result of the challenges in the power sector and stressed the need for more investment in developing the energy infrastructure in the country. The Tamale South MP's commentary was however interjected with murmurs from the minority, which eventually degenerated into a shouting match between two sides.
Let me concede that the performance of industry has not been the best, arising out of an energy challenge. The power disruptions, we will fix it as a government. I've heard many quotes in the media which quotes my Twi comment of Edumdumadum Bejai. Those of them who know Twi very well, I didn't say Edumdumadum Bejai. I said Ebejai, with needed investment in the power sector, particularly in the area of generation. We will increase the generational capacity. And Mr. Speaker, even more importantly, is the completion of the gas project that the minister announced.
Medundum Ejai means power outages have stopped. And indeed, at the time it had not stopped. He was saying that if the NDC was voted in the power, it will come to a halt. That is why he said it will stop under the NDC. Today, where are we? Answer that question.
And I'm saying that now, with an expanded economy, there is 100 megawatts demand on monthly basis, no longer yearly. Yes. So I'm talking about the demand. And I'm saying that this budget, Mr. Speaker, and I'm saying this budget has addressed that issue.
And he said he meant demand, but he didn't say demand. He didn't say demand. If you
Honorable Minister, what did you say?
I don't know why he wants me to say I'm ardent. We are ardent.
This government has not provided in this mid-year review why the strategies government presented November last year have turned out worse results for us. We should diagnose that. The corruption, the mismanagement, taking money from where it ought to be and spending it where it ought not to be spent. That is not how you develop a country. Mr. Speaker,
Yes, Honorable Deputy Minister.
Made against the government, bordering on corruption, mismanagement. The Honorable Kwewu Kwatin does not provide any evidence. It will be extremely unacceptable on the part of all of us if we encourage this kind of conduct.
The House will round up the debate on Friday and bring the second meeting of the second session of the Seat Parliament to a close. Manolante reporting for Joy News.
Meanwhile, the South and Central Municipal Conference of Heads of Basic Schools have called for the speedy and timely release of the capitation grants to ensure the smooth running of schools. Speaking at the third annual municipal conference in Accra, its national president lamented the delay in the release of the grants was hampering academic activities, hence the need for authorities to release the funds in time to ensure smooth administration and management. We do apologize for the loss in audio there, but we'll try and bring you back that story. But the multifunctional Azuma Nelson Sports Complex, built to train young athletes, boxers and footballers in the country, has now become a field of unsightly scenes. Apart from the tennis court, which is functioning, most of the facility has become a dumping ground for all manner of trash. Redwan Karim Osman, who visited the facility, reports the stadium needs urgent attention to save what's left of it.
Named after Ghanaian boxing legend, the Azuma Nelson Sports Complex is a multi-purpose stadium in Accra. Originally built during the era of the Supreme Military Council under General Kutu Echampong in the 1970s. This once cherished sports facility, which was home to many sporting activities in the years past, has seen little development for almost 4 decades now. The facility, whose construction began 39 years ago, is yet to be completed, mainly due to budgetary constraints. Pockets of green grass have survived, though nothing worth playing on, while the inner perimeter fencing has been taken over by creeping plants. The only surviving basketball rim is hanging rustily, while the volleyball court and its surroundings have been taken over by weeds, with refuse occupying the rest of it. The swimming pool, which used to draw so many patrons, is currently sealed. The tennis court, which is the only facility in good condition, I was told, has been under the management of the Kanishi Lawn Tennis Club for the past 30 years, probably the reason why, despite its sorry state, it is still usable. The hostel facility is not very welcoming, with sanitation a major concern. Minister for Youth and Sports, Mahama Ayariga, who toured the sports complex, described it as unfortunate.
Well, it's unfortunate that we have allowed such a very precious facility to deteriorate to this extent. For a country like Ghana, by now we should have developed facilities like that up to the best possible standards. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened. I believe that it is often the result of inadvertence. I mean, people focusing on other issues and not this one. It definitely can't be deliberate. It is often also a problem of resources. The National Youth Authority is one of the very woefully resourced institutions, and so I can appreciate the challenge.
He pledged government will commit 1 million Ghana cedis to rehabilitate it.
I will commit 1 million Ghana cedis of the ministry's resources for activities to begin to uplift this facility, to be able to accommodate its immediate environs, to be able to use it. And so once we upgrade the pitch, we will set up this place also as a soccer academy.
National Youth Authority Coordinator Ras Mubarak expressed appreciation for the support.
As you have seen from the complex, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. We're looking at, an all-weather facility, for instance, where even if it rains, young people can still train. Where we're looking at a solar flood lighting facility, because you want to make sure that if there are some games going on and the light goes off, we can still operate.
He, however, could not tell the news team how long it would take to complete the 10,000 capacity sports facility. Ridwan Karim Dini Osman, Joy News, Accra.
Ghanaians resident in the United States of America are set to embark on a peaceful demonstration dubbed Occupy the Ghana Embassy at D.C. to protest what they say is the poor governance, corruption and general decline of the Ghanaian economy. The demonstration follows a similar one here in Ghana dubbed Occupy Flagstaff House, which has since evolved into the Red Friday campaign. Organizers of the demonstration say moves by government to resuscitate the economy will not make them back down. Speaking on today's big story, a member of the legal team for the Occupy the Ghana Embassy at D.C., Charles Akolache, says it will take more than mere talk for them to regain confidence in the Mahama administration.
The proof is in the pudding. We know people speak big English to obfuscate the issue. But the issue is, you ask yourself, do I have enough energy? Is there electricity, for instance? People go to sleep and they don't have electricity. You wake up sweating. When you wake up sweating, you expect that at least there will be water for you to bathe. But alas, there is no water. It's becoming bad, and we think that government needs to sit up.
We'll take a break. We'll be back with more stories. Do stay tuned. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, has said effective March next year, roadworthiness certificates will not be renewed for commercial vehicles without seat belts. Acting Chief Executive Rudolph Beckley adds effective September this year, the authority will also not register new public passenger vehicles without fitted seat belts. Officials say the directive is to help reduce the number of deaths that are recorded in motor accidents.
According to Rudolph Beckley, the decision not to register commercial vehicles without seat belts was in conformity with Section 119 of the Road Traffic Regulation and Legislative Instrument 2180. The implementation of the LI, according to him, was to achieve a 50% reduction in death and serious injuries associated with vehicle accidents by 2020.
Now, the second phase will also look at commercial vehicles that are already within the fleet and that do not have seatbelts. We are given a deadline of March ending. But before we get to the deadline, what we are doing is that the DVLA is currently in the process of procuring seatbelts, and then the procurement of the seatbelts will also include what we call installation training. We are also in the process of identifying garages who will be provided the training to be able to fit these seatbelts in commercial vehicles.
DSP Alexander Obeng of the Motor Traffic and Transport Department was emphatic the MTTU would enforce the law on the fitting of seatbelts in commercial vehicles because it saves lives.
As part of the education and the training that is needed to targeting even the youth, these entities should also be seen wearing it. So those in charge cinema in Ghana, people tend to watch a documentary, what have you. When people are boarding any vehicle that pertains to any of the scenes, make sure they wear them. We want to see it. Okay. It should be basic. It is. We are not turning back. We don't need to. I love to see people getting protected. Because throughout my career, I've seen needless deaths at crises. That I've seen people that have been thrown out of buses because they were not wearing, and they got crashed on the bare, tar road, and they died. And it continues to happen because if you are not in seatbelt, you get ejected. Kinetic science has shown beyond reasonable doubt. So for us, we think that it is a new day for us with regard to preventing secondary collision-related injuries.
Okay.
It has saved a lot of lives in Ghana. In fact,
some commercial drivers are, however, unhappy about the new directive. They spoke to Joy News.
Sometimes in the cars never ban, maybe I cargo. One in the front no pen a seat seat belt in the but the other side the seat belt, you know. It is almost here. Yeah, and to me, yeah, possible. Say, I bet me a seat belt. I'm all be our workers.
Seat belt in a boa for your drivers. Now, one seat belt. I say, be my passengers. Nothing. Them say, best wreck a crab, a cra. Your cars in go check a crowd. Say, seat belt in the beginning. Inti a banner say passengers. So one more ye be a man idea. And so on the anke best wreck a cra.
So we can say no match a family bisu. A family be say trotro any long distance cars no. If you say so much ye because trotro need ye on two to mean to cry and call distance be a no agina. It is a beer and normally in the trotro no a more mobile focus no a how bar on any bar. A beer out to Misakran when you cry and call transit to no treeska. But system no ni sikasem said ye no man ko yintino or say akwala international nti se ko ba ne sa na se odi seat belt boni pa no mienu mu a be ha adwene
omo de dem law ne be da mfi se be ha adwene kakra because car that gas fi inside the bar be wa cargo se home seat wo ma na be ka seat belt na home na se seat belt bam sisi a passenger bi o si obi ofo no oba adwene kakra passengers ni ko abo ha no. The
exercise will take effect from September 1, 2014. Justice Paulson's report for Joy News.
The Ghana Journalists Association Awards for 2014 has been slated for August 30. With 42 competitive awards category up for grabs, the GG executives Thursday afternoon inaugurated a 7-member committee to examine and evaluate the entries received.
The 10-member awards committee members is made up of various award winners, former executives of the GJA Awards Committee, veteran broadcasters and some people from academia. GJA President Dr. Afilmonian announced more than 500 entries have been received so far. However, only 42 prizes are up for grabs.
As you are aware, there are a total of 42 competitive awards to be won. They are as follows: Professor P.A.V. Ansah Journalist of the Year, Konrad Dumont Most Promising Young Journalist of the Year, Disability, Telecommunications, Rural Radio Station, Human Rights with focus on children, Arts, Entertainment, and Domestic Tourism, Education for electronic media, Education for print media, Investigative Reporting, Health, Columnist, Environmental Hygiene and Sanitation, Environment, SMEs, News Reporting, Print, News Reporting Radio, News Reporting Television, Social Security for an individual, Social Security for a media institution, Agriculture, Science, Newspaper Layout and Design, Anti-Corruption, Anti-Narcotics for an individual, Anti-Narcotics for a media house, Development Journalism for Federal MDGs, Oil and Gas, HIV and AIDS, Koyuba Radio Award for Business, Finance and Economic Reporting, Crime and Court Reporting, Features, Print, Features, Television, Rural Reporting, Democracy and Peace Building for Media House, Best Akan Program, Best Dagbani Program, Best Ever Program, Best Gandangbe Program, Best Hausa Program, Best Izima Program. We also have local governments. and sports, one for print and one for electronic, especially commentary.
President John Dramani Mahama is billed to chairman the awards night, which will also be graced by the Asantehene Otumfuo Tutu II as special guest of honor, and Nigeria mogul and former Lagos State Governor Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as guest speaker. This year's event is on the theme, using development journalism to discern and defend national interests.
The South and Central Municipal Conference of Heads of Basic Schools have called for the speedy and timely release of the capitation grants to ensure the smooth running of schools. Speaking at the 3rd Annual Municipal Conference in Accra, its national president lamented the delay in the release of the grant was hampering academic activities, hence the need for authorities to release the funds in time to ensure smooth administration and management.
Currently, several head teachers have had to improvise and ask their teachers to buy teachers' lesson notebooks and other teaching learning materials with their own funds, so they will be reimbursed once the capitation grant is paid. The head teachers say they are also looking forward to be reimbursed for the several official expenses they have had to finance themselves. National President for Conference said many of the schools are heavily indebted due to the delay in the release of funds for the 2013-2014 academic year.
No capitation grant for the whole academic year. We have not gotten a PESWA. So schools are just being run by parent supports. Those who have good PTAs, they support them. But there's nothing in the schools now for capitation grant. Look at TLMs. We need to buy them. We don't have money for them. So you improvise. That's all we do now in the schools. So it's affecting us. For that, it's affecting us. But there isn't much we can do. We just keep on asking. But we've always been talking to them. We've always been meeting them. Go to the ministries. We have our directors, the metro directors. We talk to them. But how to get the funds to us is the problem. It will come. It will come. That's all we hear from them.
The conference, which was on the theme, Enhancing the Standard of Education in Ghana, the role of the basic head teacher, was to deliberate on measures that would help enhance performance in basic schools. Head teachers were called on to intensify their monitoring and supervisory roles to enhance standards in the education sector.
Where you are monitoring and supervisory lenses in order to see from far and near. Supervision. Are they setting targets? Are they meeting their targets? A problem with the basic school is that the foundation is still very, very weak. Be conversant with the policies of the service in order to help carry them through.
The conference also sought, among others, to brainstorm, discuss and take stock of the 2013-2014 academic year, which is almost ending. Matilda Humaga, for Joy News, Accra.
Over 5,000 displaced flood victims in the Jomoro district of the Western region have rejected relief items presented to them by the National Disaster Management Organization. The victims say they'd rather the items were sold and the proceeds used to resolve the cause of the perennial flooding. Western Regional Correspondent William Benjamin Peters filed this report.
The relief items donated include about 100 mattresses, 100 second-hand clothing, 1,400 plastic plates, 2,300 plastic cups, 75 lanterns, 10 cartons of matches, 10 tents, 6 boxes of mosquito coils, 10 life jackets, 10 blankets, and 10 reflectors. The Member of Parliament of Elembele, who doubles as the Energy Minister, Emmanuel Amakofibua, also supported the NADMO donation with his own contribution of 60 bags of rice, 20 bags of sugar, 10 cartons of cooking oil, and 40 bags of maize worth 22,000 Ghana cedis. The victims, however, described the items as inadequate for 5,295 displaced victims.
Appealing through the media so that the government might hear, so that you come and supply the item. Should you supply a rice today? Mom, is what about tomorrow? You see, it's a perennial problem, so the problem should be solved once and for all.
They urged the authorities to rather seek long-term solutions, such as constructing storm drains. Some actually offered to give up their share of the relief items to be sold for the proceeds to be used to build the needed culverts. The chief, however, intervened and received the items, pledging to ensure they are shared fairly. He, however, shared the sentiments of his subject. Janet Edewu, who is one of the affected victims, during an exclusive interview with Joy News, expressed her sentiment. Francisca Eby, on the other hand, said she has lost vital documents through the flooding and questioned where she was going to keep the relief items now that their homes are flooded. In a related development, some residents of Halfasene have started constructing trenches manually to provide an outlet for the stagnant flood waters. Samuel Mensah, who is one of the workers, said the sandy nature of the area is creating a problem for them and complained about the MP's attitude towards the constituents. Executive of Jomoro, Sylvester Numa Dadie, however, dropped hints on an impending demolition of buildings in waterways as a permanent solution to the problem. William Benjamin Peters' father's report from the Western region.
Up next, we bring you some international news.
Hello there, time now for Business Reports. My name is Abigail Adumakoenchi. Now, Deputy Minister of Finance Ato Forcing has rejected arguments that government's decision not to withdraw more than $1.5 billion of the Chinese loan shows that the necessary due diligence was not done. Government yesterday announced that it would not access more than $1.5 billion of the $3 billion Chinese facility. KCL Ato Forcing, however, says the decision is in the country's interest. 3 years after signing the $3 billion facility, Ghana has been able to draw about $600 million to finance 2 out of the 12 projects to be financed by the loan. Well, Parliament has given the approval for Cocoa Board to go ahead and raise $2 billion from some banks next month. The funds would be used to purchase cocoa beans from farmers in the country from October. Analysts say since the price of the bean has risen on the world markets, local farmers are likely to get some good price for their beans. Government is currently paying farmers 212 cedis for every 64-kilo bag of the beans. Meanwhile, Parliament has also waived any taxes and duties on the $2 billion trade facility for Cocoa Board. And back to the controversial EPA, organized labor has joined calls to condemn the signing of the Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union. The labor unions also maintain the economy is headed for doom if the agreement is ratified, as its demerits on the economy far outweigh the merits. Of the West African heads of state at the 45th ordinary session in Accra to approve the EPA has been met with stiff opposition from several civil society groups. The latest to add its voice is organized labor, who were promised by government on May Day that it will not sign the EPA in its current form. The labor unions are, however, disappointed government has approved the signing of the EPA without a said review.
We are told reliably that there has not been any significant change in what it means. They've just gone ahead to do it. We acknowledge that they have been under pressure by the European Union for a long time. So finally the European Union has succeeded in getting our presidents against their wish to sign those documents. So if it is the form that we saw it that has been signed, then we repeat that is quite inimical to the gains of our countries. The demerits of the agreements far outweighs the merits. The few exports asked me how many, what large or what variety of exports do we have, in the sense that the challenges it will pose to us far outweighs the interest that has been put on.
He wants Parliament to demonstrate leadership by rejecting the agreement.
The TUC has his voice in condemning this situation, because our governments know the consequences of signing these agreements. Yet they've been coerced, as I said, by the European Union to do so. And we would want to use this forum to call on Parliament. We rarely call on our elected representatives in Parliament to demonstrate due leadership when these inimical agreements are presented to Parliament for ratification. If they are presented, we expect Parliament to rise up to the occasion and say, no, what we have done is not good. So generally what we want to say that the TUC is quite unhappy. We are quite sad that our governments have gone to ahead to sign up this agreement in spite of all the issues that we raised.
Organized labor still stand by their position that the EPA will destroy the local industry, render many jobless, and further worsen the difficulties Ghanaians are currently facing. Abigail Adumakwenchi for Joy News. The Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications GIFEX Rural Telephony Project has won the Category C Award for Best in Information and Communication Infrastructure at the World Summit Information Society in Geneva, Switzerland. The project, to be implemented in 100 rural telephony sites by the end of 2015, will help bridge the telecommunication gap in remote areas. The GIFEC Rural Telephony Project, which won this World Awards, provides 2G and 3G base stations with small cellular antennas providing free internet Wi-Fi services, in addition to traditional voice services. The project, to be implemented in collaboration with telecom companies, utilizes green energy solutions using solar energy to ensure a population-free environment and an energy-conserving system. The project is to ensure citizens access to communication services regardless of their geographical location.
In some of the beneficiary communities who do not have access to electricity, the site security lighting system was provided. In some communities, a mobile phone charging outlet has also been provided at the site. The revenues generated by telecom operators in these rural communities have seen a significant increase, thus contributing directly to GDP growth.
GIFEC says 30 rural telephony sites have already been deployed across Ghana and is to hit 100 by close of 2015.
Currently, we have deployed about 30. 25 are actively working, 5 will be working soon. 20 are going to be constructed this year, and another, in addition to 20 that is being contracted already. We bear the cost. You see, the tower is expensive. So telecom companies are always calculating when and how much it will cost them to put up a tower. Now, using their own money, we are setting up the tower, and that takes most of the cost from them. Beyond that one, they now will now go to where they wouldn't like to go. The goals of this project are to establish a total of 100 rural telephone sites by the end of 2015, provide access to telecommunication services in every Ghanaian community with a population of at least 2,000 people.
GIFEC, meanwhile, has 2 World Acclaim Awards in the electronic communication sector in India and Switzerland. And that'll be all for business. I'm Abigail Adumakwenchi. There's more news coming up. Do stay.
Some sports now. Sports Minister Mahama Yariga says he will start immediate consultations with stakeholders to ensure the Azuma Nelson Sports Complex here in Accra receives a major facelift. The sports minister, who toured the complex today, stated his desire to get the neglected facility back to its good state.
With you and your coordinator has been a very close friend of mine, and I want to assure you that your outfit will receive my full attention at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. I think that perhaps the uplifting of this facility will be my first project as Minister of Youth and Sports. Immediately, as I indicated outside, I will invite the engineering regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces for a discussion, and I will commit 1 million Ghana cedis of the ministry's resources.
Right, Ghana slipped just 1 place on the latest FIFA ranking released after the World Cup, despite bowing out at the just-ended tournament at the group stage. The Black Stars are now 5th in Africa, with world champions Germany, of course, ranked number 1 in the world. Ghana slipped just 1 place on the latest FIFA ranking for the month of July. Despite crashing out of the group stage of the 2014 World Cup, the Black Stars are now ranked 38th in the world and have also dropped down one place in Africa. Ghana now in 5th place behind Algeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria and Egypt. Four-time world champions Germany are reaping the rewards of their triumph at the tournament and lead the table for the first time in 20 years, followed by Argentina and the Netherlands. The Netherlands' third-place finish of the World Cup has propelled them 12 positions up the table and back into the top 10. All the teams that exited the World Cup in the quarter-final stage have climbed up the ranking. Colombia moving 4th, Belgium to 5th, France in 10th, with Costa Rica reaching the highest ever at 16th in the world. Now, they would most likely escape FIFA's wrath after they met FIFA's conditions to lift its ban after the regional court reversed an order restraining the board of the Nigerian Football Federation from their office. Nigeria, though, await further directives from FIFA despite meeting the deadline. Nigeria have met FIFA's conditions to lift its ban on the country after Regional High Court quashed an order restraining the board of the Nigeria Football Federation from office. FIFA punished Nigeria for government interference after the NFF board was replaced by a sole administrator. A 17 July deadline was given to reverse the decision, despite the government's claim it was a matter for the courts. On Wednesday, a private legal action was withdrawn, allowing the NFF to return. Nigeria were also temporarily banned by FIFA after the 2010 World Cup when the country's president, Goodluck Jonathan, tried to withdraw the team from international competition. FIFA, who extended the original deadline from 15 July because of a judiciary worker strike in Nigeria, has yet to announce whether it will end the country's suspension from all international football. Joy Sports understands reinstated NFF General Secretary Musa Amadu has subsequently communicated to FIFA the latest developments in the hope that the governing body will ease its stance. The Super Eagles are expected to defend the Africa Cup of Nations title when qualifying begins in September. The tournament kicks off next January in Morocco. Soccer on the local front, and Accra Hearts of Oak are set to unveil former coach Herbert Addo as the new coach for the upcoming Ghana Premier League season. Talks were stalled after the Inter-Allies coach demanded huge sums of money. But checks by Joy Sports indicates the Phobians have settled on him as a successor to coach Mohamed Polo. Checks by Joy Sports reveal Hearts of Oak are set to name Herbert Addo as the new head coach after meeting his financial demands. The Phobians are reported to have agreed to pay 20,000 Ghana cedis as enticement fee and a monthly salary of 8,000 Ghana cedis. Hearts would also give the experienced coach a brand new Toyota Prado and a rent allowance of 3,000 Ghana cedis. Last week, reports in the local media said the former Inter-Allies coach's demands were about to scupper his move to the capital club. Herbert Addo won the league with Hearts of Oak in 2003, but missed out on the title the following season despite going unbeaten. Last season, he spearheaded Inter-Allies' survival in the first Capital Plus Premier League on their debut season after joining the club when they had lost their first 7 games. Right, let's check out what's happening in the transfer market. Talk about the European transfer market. A number of players are moving. Bayern Munich's midfielder Toni Kroos has joined Real Madrid for an undisclosed fee on a 6-year deal. He was presented to the Real Madrid fans at the Bernabeu this afternoon after undergoing a medical. Let's get into Chelsea then. It's a striker leaving them. Demba Ba has passed the medical at Besiktas and could complete a reported £8 million move on Friday. We'll be having a look at that. And Arsenal have completed the signing of Matthew Debuchy from Newcastle United. The French fullback agreed a £10 million move to the Emirates Stadium earlier this month. And Newcastle have also announced the signing of Netherlands fullback Daryl Janmaat for an undisclosed fee from Feyenoord. So it's looking very good as well. And just a little while on the Manchester United fans can read then. Louis van Gaal had his first press conference. They should be very excited. They should be very excited about what happened, and they're hoping that they'll have a great season. He was, as usual, highly combustible, highly flustered man. And I have to say, he's a very authoritative coach. We'll just find out what he does when the Premier League starts then. That'll be all for sports tonight. I'm George Addy Jr. Israel, join you with some more. Have a good night.
The rap executioner Brafo announced his retirement from secular music. But a year on, it appears he's still in the secular game. He tells Showbiz he's working on a new song with dancehall act Samini.
It's purely high life. The song is called Vamijo.
Oh, that's an Ewe word.
Yeah. Let's go.
Are you an Ewe? No, Samini is not an Ewe.
Yeah. But we are one people, and so we always want to learn something from each other. And I find word Vamijo, meaning come, let's go. And we are recording a love song called Vamijo. We're saying the beautiful ladies should come and let's go. We're going to finalize it today, what it is. We want to do the video ASAP as quickly as we can, and
that'll be all for Showbiz. Right, so some news just coming through. It turns out the New Patriotic Party has settled on a date for its presidential primaries. And the statement signed by the party's General Secretary reads, the New Patriotic Party has penciled August 31, 2014 as a date for the Special Delegates Congress to elect the first 5 of the 7 persons who have filed to contest the presidential primaries. The Special Congress will be held at the regional centers in all the 10 regions of Ghana. The party headquarters at Asylum Down in Accra will also be designated as a polling center for some categories of voters. The decision was taken at the party's National Council meeting held at Alisa Hotel on Wednesday, July 16. The council has also scheduled October 18 for the presidential primaries to be held in all the 275 constituencies simultaneously. Further guidelines will be communicated in due course. The 5 standing committees of the National Council were duly constituted. They are Finance, Organizational, Constitutional, Research and Disciplinary Committees. In addition, the party's vetting committees was put in place. Regional officers updated the council on the state of the party's preparedness on the upcoming registration exercise. Furthermore, party officers, MPs and key stakeholders of the party are requested to take the upcoming voter registration exercise seriously and to ensure that most of their members and supporters who have attained the voting age patronize the registration exercise. And the statement is signed by the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Kwabena J. Ejepong. And so the news that's just coming through is that the New Patriotic Party has settled on October 18 for its presidential primaries. But there will, however, be a super or special delegates congress on August 31 to select the first 5 of the 7 persons who have filed to contest the presidential primaries. And that'll be all for the bulletin. In our top stories, a look at our top stories before we go. Heads of basic schools in the Greater Accra region have called for a speedy release of capitation grant to ease the financial strain on schools. The rundown Azuma Nelson complex is to get a facelift after several years of neglect. Flood victims at Jomoro in the Western region reject relief items presented by NADMO and instead demand permanent solution to perennial flooding. Driver, Vehicle and Licensing Authority to insist on seat belts before granting roadworthiness certificates to commercial passenger vehicles from September. And some Ghanaians in the USA are to stage a protest at Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. over what they say is the poor governance, corruption, and general deterioration of the economy. That'll be all for the bulletin. My name is Israel. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good evening.